Hey guys, and welcome on into the next NHL offseason preview show. Today we're going to be talking all about the San Jose Sharks, taking a look at their offseason ahead, uh, starting with draft picks and management, free agents, looking at the projected roster, and then, of course, getting to my offseason tasks for the Sharks at the end of the show. If you like this video, make sure to hit the like button. If you want other team off-season preview shows, make sure to check the playlist and click on the playlists, because if you just look, it doesn't show you all the teams unless you click on the actual playlist on the YouTube channel. So if you want to take a look at the other teams we've done, make sure to check those out. The San Jose Sharks, a lot of people might be saying, oh, this is going to be a boring show. This team's awful. Why even look at their offseason? And the Sharks are a very interesting team, and we're going to jump into it right now, starting with the first segment, which is draft picks and management. So Mike Grier, general manager of the Sharks, Ryan Warsofsky, head coach for the Sharks. So no positions needed in filling when it comes to the general manager or head coach. Taking a look at the draft picks, the Sharks have their first and second round pick, but they've traded away the rest of their draft picks for this year. Their third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh have all been traded away to other teams. They have replaced those with picks from other teams. So they have the third round pick for the Oilers, St. Louis and Winnipeg's fourth round pick, Colorado's fifth round pick, and the Devils' seventh round pick. No pick in the sixth round. So the Sharks kind of juggling picks as they continue to make trades, retooling this very, very young roster. The Sharks also have Dallas's first round pick and Ottawa's second round pick in this year's draft. So 4 picks in the first 2 rounds for the San Jose Sharks, continuing to add young prospects to the draft cupboard that they currently have, unless they make some kind of trade wheel and deal, because the Sharks could potentially look to make a deal at the draft and try to potentially move up, which could be something that the Sharks will want to do, which of course we'll get to here in a moment. We will go on to, before we go on to the second segment, offer sheet capability. So the Sharks do have, as I said, a lot of picks in this year's draft, but they have traded away their third round pick next year as well. And in order to offer sheet a player in the middle categories, which is anywhere between 4.6 million basically to 11.7 million. So basically the main area for one of the top RFAs. You need to have your third round pick next year. It has to be your pick, and it has to be included in the offer sheet. So in order for the Sharks to offer sheet a player, it would have to be below 4,680,076, or it would have to be above 11,700,193. So basically, you're going to have to give a player over 11.7 million if you want one of the top RFAs, and that will cost you 4 first-round picks in the next 5 drafts. So there goes 4 first-rounders. And looking at the Sharks with offer sheet capability, we'll get to RFAs. I'll save that for the RFAs. We'll get to that soon. Free agents for the San Jose Sharks. They have quite a few RFAs, a couple UFAs, and as you can see, a projected 41 million, over 41 million in cap space. This Sharks team, if they wanted to, they could go and spend this offseason, but the Sharks still a few years away from being a playoff team. So this is not the year necessarily to go and look to spend a whole bunch of money. The exceptions to that, of course, are signing your RFAs here. Now, I don't think any of these guys are going to be exceptionally large contracts, but when I look at this, the Sharks, obviously, Mike Greer, as well as their scouting department, really has to look at the RFAs that they have here and decide who they're sure is part of the long-term future, and obviously re-sign those guys. Who might be part of the long-term future, you want to re-sign those guys too and give them a chance. But if there's any RFAs in this list, or both UFAs, in my opinion, that just don't have a future with the team, then obviously look to move them in a potential deal. Because you don't want to clog up space for these young guys, but you don't want to trade a young guy away too early either. So that is a big part of the job for the general manager as well as the scouting department, is to really do your job when it comes to scouting players, obviously in your organization, but of course in other organizations and the draft as well. So the Sharks team, priority one is continue to evaluate players and obviously sign your RFAs that you need to. The Sharks, obviously, they do have a ton of cap space, but there is an NHL salary cap floor as well. So a team can't just not pay anybody. And the Sharks team is approximately $17 million below the cap floor. So they need to spend some money this offseason, or at least acquire contracts. And if you've watched all the NHL season preview shows I've done, or off-season preview shows I've done, you'll probably know what one of my off-season tasks might be here for the San Jose Sharks, which we'll get to, of course, at the end of the show. A little bit of a Easter egg there for that. So we'll get to that later on. Looking at the forward group for the San Jose Sharks, William Eklund, Macklin Celebrini, Tyler Toffoli, a great top first line. Of course, Tyler Toffoli on most teams is probably a second or third line player, but Celebrini and Eklund, those are going to be two mainstays for the Sharks team for a very long time. On the second line, you've got Will Smith, Nikolai Kovalenko, and Cameron Lund. A very young second line. Klim Kostin, Alex Wenberg, Ty Dellandrea on the third line. Carl Gunstrom, Barclay Goodrow, and Noah Gregor on the fourth line. And then you've got other young players, Thomas Bordeleau, Colin Graff, and Zach Ospachuk for the San Jose Sharks team, as well as other guys. So with this Sharks forward lineup, it could very well look completely different. This is one of those teams where the lineup you're seeing, obviously the four groups of players on the left side of the screen, very well may not be how things turn out to be on opening night. The Sharks team has so many young forwards that a player like let's say Zach Ospachuk on the right side, he could have an amazing training camp and find himself in the second line. Same thing with Colin Graff. The Sharks, a player that maybe not even on the screen could end up being on the second line. So the Sharks, their lines are just completely open. There's so many changes that could happen here. A very young team. And as I said, you do want those veteran, experienced guys that can help mentor these guys. But then again, you don't want to take up too many spots either. And while you're in this rebuilding process, you want to see what your young players can do. So you want to give them a chance as well. So there's lots. You might think, oh, the San Jose Sharks team, there's not really, they're just a bad team and there's not really much to do. There's lots for the head coaching, general manager, and obviously scouting department to do for this Sharks team. I'm going to be pretty quick with UFAs. The Sharks, the only reason they should go out and sign a UFA is to get to the salary cap floor. If and we'll obviously get to Mitch Marner here in a bit, which might be the only exception. But any of the guys in this list, if they are signing them, it is to get to the cap floor. If for some reason they can't otherwise. Top UFA centers, same deal. Obviously, Mikhail Granlund played with the Sharks last year. Signing him would only be as well to get to the cap floor. And maybe they want to sign some veteran players that they can trade at the deadline. If they sign guys to one-year deals, that type of thing. Brock Nelson is actually no longer a UFA. I'm going to have to edit that because that was actually just changed this morning. So no longer a UFA, Brock Nelson. I will have to update that heading into the next show. But the Sharks are not going to be signing Brock Nelson, so it's okay. Right wingers, Mitch Marner. The San Jose Sharks, as I said, approximately $17 million below the salary cap floor. Adding a guy like Mitch Marner, while Mitch Marner has his, I don't want to say negative traits, but the negative thoughts around Mitch Marner, playoff success, and all that kind of stuff is there. But he is a great offensive player, 28 years old, so not a veteran yet. But he's kind of in that middle there, where he's not quite yet a veteran player, but he is a proven NHL superstar with experience. 102 points last year, 28 years old. The San Jose Sharks should offer Mitch Marner a 7-year deal because that's the max they can offer him, which would take him till he's 35, and offer him as much money as he wants, as much money as they feel comfortable with offering him. Because when the Sharks team is ready and adding Mitch Marner would be a sign that the Sharks are preparing to be ready in the next couple years. Because if the Sharks add Mitch Marner, I still do not believe they're a playoff team this year. He's not going to make them a playoff team, but he's going to improve what's going to be a very scary offense in a few seasons. The Sharks team, as we saw with that forward group, has a lot of young players. They also have draft picks this year, draft picks next year in a very loaded draft. And I do believe the Sharks team, their first-round pick is going to be another top 5 pick next year. They also have Edmonton's first-round pick. So the Sharks are going to continue to add. Whether they should add forwards or if they should start looking at defense is another question. But looking at the UFA list here, I think Mitch Marner should be the only player on this list that the Sharks look to sign. You might be saying, oh, well, what about Brock Besser? He's 28 years old too. Yes, but look at the production. He did half what Mitch Marner did last year. So there's a huge difference there. And the Sharks, Brock Besser is not a guy you're going to be able to sign and then trade at the deadline. That's just not going to be him. Unless he signs a 1-year deal and surprises me, maybe. But otherwise, you want players for the future. And I'm not quite sure Brock Besser would be in the long-term future for the Sharks. I don't think he would help them. Looking at RFAs, as I mentioned earlier, when it comes to the offer sheet capability, it would have to be over $11.6 million. Evan Bouchard, while exactly what the Sharks need, a young stud defenseman, offensive defenseman who will be able to eat minutes for them and would be on their number one D pair for years and years and years to come. The Oilers are probably going to match not whatever maybe what you offer, but if the Sharks went an offer sheet of Bouchard, yes, they might be adding a very important piece to the defense, but that will cost them 4 first-round picks in the next 5 drafts. So I'm not sure, I'll be completely honest with you guys, I'm not sure if they would need to give their first round pick next year. They have Edmonton's. It's 4 first round picks over the next 5 seasons. So basically, they're going to have to give up some of their first, 2027 first. And that could be kind of tricky. I don't know if you want to give up 4 first round picks for Bouchard. I don't know if the Sharks would do that. He's 25 too. So I don't know if they do that. I think it's much more likely that the Sharks give Buffalo a call with Bowen Byram, who's being in trade rumors. He's 23 years old, defenseman. That might be better for the Sharks because you can acquire him by trade and you don't have to give up 4 first rounders. Obviously, they want to be giving Bowen Byram over $11.6 million, but they can't offer sheet lower than that unless they reacquire their 3rd round pick, which makes things very tricky. So on this list, Noah Dobson, I don't see the Sharks going after Noah Dobson. I think it would be much more likely that the Sharks trade for the Isles' first round pick to try to get Matthew Schaefer, the projected number 1 overall pick this year, defenseman. I think that would be much more likely than them going after Noah Dobson. So we've talked about the defense. Why have we talked about the defense? Well, yikes. Yikes is the only way to describe this defense. So you've got Henry Thrun, Jack Thompson, and Shakir Mukhamadullin, all 3 young defensemen who could potentially be defensemen for the future. And so obviously you want to see what they've got. But you've got Mario Ferraro and Timothy Liljegren on that top line, both who really should be 3rd pair defensemen. Vincent Desjardins, Marc-Edouard Vlasic, especially Marc-Edouard Vlasic, his best days are far, far behind him. This defense group is rough and is going to be rough for whoever is in net behind them. So obviously you've got some young players, and they also definitely have guys in the AHL. Maybe see other guys step up here. Maybe the Sharks, to get to the cap floor, they go after a defenseman. That could be potential. But if I'm San Jose, if I'm Mike Grier, looking ahead to next year in a very loaded draft, I'm not going to overly try to improve this defense. In fact, I might want to bring other young defensemen up. You want to see, obviously, defense is a point of need for the Sharks. So if anything, I'm giving some young guys opportunity to see what they've got in a year where you really don't want to really compete here. You don't want to be trying to go to the playoffs because the Sharks are obviously not going to the playoffs. So it would not be smart to go all in this year type of thing. So young guys, see what they can do. Otherwise, this defense is really rough. And that's why they will likely be looking at another top 5 draft pick, which is not a bad thing for the San Jose Sharks team because, as I said, loaded draft as well. You could always use it as a trade piece. There's opportunity there as well. UFA defenseman, nothing makes sense here unless you're picking up one of these guys and you're going to trade them at the deadline. Now, people might be thinking, oh, Brent Burns, could he go back to San Jose? No, that's not going to happen. But hey, the Wild drafted him. So if anything, no, I'm kidding. No, Minnesota won't be signing Brent Burns either. I would be shocked to see that. But none of the guys in this list, maybe Fabro, to maybe give some of the goaltenders some help, which we'll get to the goalies next. But no, maybe Ryan Lindgren, and that's just if they want to add a guy to help block some shots, help the goalies out a little bit, because you don't want to ruin your goaltenders either by putting out defensemen who aren't going to help out at all when it comes to shot blocking. You don't want to ruin your young goaltenders, because that is what the San Jose Sharks have, is young goaltenders. With Georgiev as a UFA, assuming he doesn't come back, Yaroslav Askarov, who the Sharks acquired from Nashville, is projected to be their starting goaltender. And Georgi Romanov, who I believe played in one game last year, is projected to be their backup. So, again, you got two young guys, Askarov, that first-round pick, high first-round pick, that's had the guy who's had potential for years now, signed to I believe a 3-year deal with the Sharks. I think $2 million each year, so a pretty affordable deal. If he's the starting goaltender, he's really being given a chance to show what he can do here. But again, the defense in front of him is not going to be good. Do the San Jose Sharks want to go and add a veteran goaltender? And I could see them going and adding either a backup, or if Askarov's just not ready for prime time, you don't want to force him into that starting position either. Maybe the Sharks go and add a goaltender here. I don't think they need to. Of course, few of these guys have already played for them, so it'd be reunions type thing. I don't see the Sharks going after any of the UFAs, and I don't see them going after an RFA. They're not going to try to get Lucas Dostal from their interstate rival. That would just be a disaster incoming. Which, or not as it would be hatred. The hatred would just these two would be instant complete rivals, but even more than they already are. I don't see them doing that with the young goalies they have. I think if they add a goaltender, they're most likely going to be adding a old veteran to first of all help with cap, getting to the cap floor, as well as maybe mentoring these young guys and taking some of the starts away, so that you're not overloading two young goalies with a very bad defense in front of you. So it's possible, but when we go to my off-season tasks for the San Jose Sharks, getting a goalie is not one of the actually, acquiring a goalie is one of the off-season tasks, but not a goalie who would play. Off-season task number 1, explore a trade with the Islanders for the first overall pick, so that you can go and you can get Matthew Schaefer and get that stud defenseman that the Sharks need. Now, the Islanders, if you don't want to give up what the Islanders want, if you can't get a deal done, it's not the end of the world either. But explore a trade and try to get the first overall pick. Next, offer Mitch Marner a big contract. It would just make too much sense to add Mitch Marner, and also to help sell tickets to the fan base. He would bring in revenue for the organization when it comes to jersey sales, of course, and just getting fans excited. It would be like, wow, they just acquired a 100-point player with all this young talent they have. Marner, San Jose would make a lot of sense for the Sharks. Don't know if Marner would want to go there, just with how they've been for the last few years, and going there, they're not going to be a contender this year. So going there just would not make a lot of sense this season, but he would be getting as much money as he wants, and he would have a very good end of his career on what's going to be a very, very, very good team. So I could see Mitch Marner saying yes. Next, if you watch the Montreal Canadiens off-season show, the Sharks trading for Carey Price for his contract would make a lot of sense. $10.5 million helps them get to the cap floor. They are not actually paying $10.5 million. It's just the cap hit for his deal. So it helps them get to the cap floor without actually having to spend much real money, if any at all. And then you are also, the Habs would do that because then they don't have to put Carey Price on LTIR, and then they don't have to worry about penalties with the cap for after with young player performance bonuses would affect their cap space in 2026. So instead of having to worry about that, you could just trade Carey Price to San Jose, his contract, and then that helps out San Jose. It helps out Montreal, and finally, re-sign RFAs. The guys you want, re-sign them. The guys you want to potentially move on from, trade them, whatever, and then. You want to be careful with RFAs. You don't want to get rid of a guy too early. But when we look at the Sharks team, they are loaded with young talent. So eventually, it's going to be looking about trading some of this young talent for proven players. That's where they're going to be in a couple of years when they've got way too many young players all to fill up lineup spots. They'll have to look at making some trades. So the San Jose Sharks, a very interesting team, and a team I was actually really excited to talk about. This team has a very, very bright future. If you're a San Jose Sharks fan, first of all, depending on how long you've been a fan, you had a lot of playoff runs and a lot of playoff games to watch, but you've been through some pain. You've been through some pain the last few years. It's going to come to an end, and it's going to be very, very happy days with San Jose. I think the way this roster is projecting, I think the best team in franchise history for San Jose is something we're going to see in the next few years. I'm very, very high in the future for the San Jose Sharks team. So keep an eye out for the Sharks in a few years. Maybe not so much this year, but keep an eye on what they do this offseason, because they definitely have some things they have to get accomplished. If you're a San Jose Sharks fan, or if you're just someone watching the video, leave in the comments below what you think the Sharks should do this offseason. Make sure to hit that like button as well as to subscribe if you're new, and we will see you guys in the next offseason preview show. Thanks for watching, guys.